how to grow moss garden indoors. Attractive to some, indoor moss gardens have a serene and tranquil quality to them. Caring for one may heighten a sense of being in touch with nature and transform an interior room into a beautiful and zen space. The following steps on how to grow a moss garden indoors can help you bring a bit of nature inside. Step 1. Get the necessary materials. You can reuse large, transparent containers or jars, or buy a terrarium with a lid at local pet shops for your indoor moss garden. The size depends on your preferences, the available space, budget, and how much effort you want to expend to take care of it. Next, for the base of your moss garden, line the bottom with pebbles. Alternatively, saturated sand makes for a good base for a variety of moss species. If you are going to put forest mosses in your garden, avoid potting soil as a base. Most species prefer pine needles or rotten bark. Moreover, colorful and various shaped rocks and small stones further enhance the aesthetics. Be as creative as you want. Step 2. Collect the moss. Check around the area of your home for any mosses already growing. They can be the perfect specimens for your moss garden. It is also recommended that you collect moss growing on stumps, logs, soils, or rocks in upland areas. Avoid collecting bog or wetland mosses. When you find some moss, peel it gently from the base. Put a large sheet of it in a clean container to transport it back home. Twigs covered with moss also work well. Lastly, note that you should always ask permission from the right authorities if you ever decide to collect moss from public land or property. Step 3. Setting up your moss garden. After building a good foundation for your moss garden, it's time to layer on the moss. Place large sheets of moss that you collected over the stones or barks you already set in place. Place other crumpled bits of moss around the rest of the area. Stick a few toothpicks in to pin the large sheets in place. Mist it with distilled or purified water. Cover the terrarium or container and store it away from sunlight. Step 4. Maintenance. An area in your home that gets indirect sunlight can house your moss garden. Make sure to keep the base moist using distilled or purified water and keep the moss damp all the time. Never allow them to dry out. Keep in mind you don't need to use fertilizer. Refer to these steps on how to grow a moss garden indoors anytime you want to create another beautiful natural decor element for your home. What's more, growing moss indoors can also be a great project for the whole family. From collecting the moss to designing a beautiful indoor garden, the entire process can be a fruitful and fulfilling endeavor.